Thank you.
Yeah, Alex does a really good job taking the videos and sending them, and then I just kind of, what do you call it, stitch them together to make one long one. So.
What was the occasion exactly?
His death anniversary, Payanti or something like that. I don't know exactly the Marathi term, but it's the death anniversary. Like Siddhameshwar Maharaj or Nisargadatta Maharaj, it's the death anniversary.
Oh, I didn't realize it had been a year already.
Well, in reality, he left the body August 31st, but death anniversary is a little bit different. They do it based on I'm not sure how exactly, but some kind of scheduling. Yeah. So, but yeah, today was they celebrated his death anniversary at Nashik Ashram.
Oh.
And that's what all those pictures are for. And they did a real nice job with the flowers all around his little samadhi there. It was very nice with the white and the purple and everything. It was very nice.
Time flies.
Indeed. Yeah, 5 years ago? No, 4 years ago. I was 1 week away from coming home from India and meeting Maharaj for the first time.
Oh.
Wow. That's not a very long time ago.
No, and well, it'll be, let's see, 3 years, I guess, since we met him in Columbia, Maryland.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't want thunder, you can mute me.
It's thundering there now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's what the noise is. Oh.
The noise is thunder, so I say you can just mute me if you'd like.
Yeah, it passed through here about maybe 40 minutes ago.
Oh, well, I had that one, but this is another one.
Oh, this is another one. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to get hit with several waves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because my sky is clouding up over here, and I'm a little bit, east of where Trish is.
Okay.
Yeah. So we might have to mute me because it's too much thunder.
I guess I have a question I could submit about a sentence in Amrit Leia 3 at the bottom of page 154. He says, so practice taking a closer look at things and saying that I am not the body, but only the form of knowledge. The jiva transforms into the indestructible. And I guess I was wondering, why does he say form of knowledge?
Well, form of knowledge is, again, that you are, that sense of existence, you know this. So that's the knowledge. The knowledge is this knowingness, something to know, the presence. So you can't really describe that because presence is formless. You know that. You can allow presence to kind of guide you by knowing that you know this. You're this formless knowingness. And it's a knowledge that not like intellectual knowledge that you would use with body or anything like that. I think Nisargadatta said it best when he says, you know, you are that knows you are. So that you are feeling, that sense of existence, is the first thing that you know. And you're that knower, that knowledge, without knowing. Like we conceptualize and say knowing as I know something, but it's not like that. It's just this formless knowledge in which there arose this sense of existence that you know. And that's why when you concentrate on your presence, the sense of presence, and you're just focused on presence and just I, you know that you're the knower of this I, this knower, this formlessness. You know this knowledge. And that's why they say like knowledge and ignorance, because it's neither knowledge nor ignorance, because both of these you know. These have appeared to you on your spontaneous presence and came along with body and mind, ego, intellect. And the instruments that you then label as the knowledge, I'm knowing things through these instruments. But this is just formless knowing without, and that's why they say that's the neti. You cannot describe that you are. You know, you are that knows you are.
And that's what I guess I'm trying to maintain discernment of that as the neti part of that discernment, that I am not any of the stuff that my mind comes up with, and also the
presence.
The presence.
All you need to do, and like Nisargadatta Maharaj, Ramakant Maharaj, Ranjit Maharaj, all of them, they say, stay with that I am, the sense of existence, because that's all you can do. And then you know that everything that appears on presence is not yourself and is an illusion. You cannot know yourself with yourself. You know yourself as everything other, this sense of presence. We talked about, you close your eyes, smell the flower. The smell of the flower lets you know, even though you can't see the flower or perceive the flower, that the flower is there. This sense of presence is a knowingness. You're the knower, the formless knower, the formlessness that's so subtle that it knows the formless presence. But whether the presence is there or not, this knowingness, as you talked about, this knowledge, this Shiva rather than Jiva, that you are.
So when the realists say they have this basic intuition, or you could say, or they conclude and feel that there must be some kind of real objective reality. Actually, what is real is actually their own self, not the objects that appear in it.
But there's only the self, the selfless self, self without self. And then this presence that you know, and you can call it the beingness or the sense of existence, the spirit, whatever you want to call it, this knowingness in which everything else is projected. And then this formless knowingness attaches to a body and says, I, and looks around for the first time and sees objects and starts to believe object to object. And that's why Maharaj says you have to refresh your memories. Refresh your memories by concentrating on the sense of presence and only seeing this. Just I. And then, as Nisargadatta Maharaj says, if you remain with the I am, it opens the door into your own self. Because presence, the I am, the sense of existence, we talked about, you are this knower, this formless, cannot be described. Presence is here and the world is being projected from that point. There's no point for you. There's no anything. You are the knower of the sense of presence. You are the knower of I am. I am appeared to you. But then you say, well, who is this you? Well, it's so far removed from any objectification that you could possibly believe yourself as you, that it's literally formlessness and a formless knowledge. But the knowledge that knows both ignorance and knowledge, because both of these things are known. The eternal knower, before the concept of time or before anything that other, quote, could be known.
So, what is the difference between the knowing when one's in the body and the knowing when one is not in the body? Is it just that the knowing without the body is just an objectless knowing because there's nothing objective to be seen at that point?
See, once again, it's talking from a body point of view and then asking from the body point of view. From the formless knowledge or the formless knower that you are, that knows the sense of presence in which all of these objects have appeared, you are none of these, and yet you're all of these. It's all arising from you. That's why they go back to the dream sequence. You lay down, the physical body lays down, consciousness kind of mixes with this sense of existence and projects a dream world. But you're really none of the objects in that dream. It's all coming from you. You are the source of the entire world, but you're totally out of it. You're not really in the dream world. This dream character, if something happens to the dream character, it doesn't affect you at all. And then you could say from the other side, you have this waking state body creating a dream state, and yet you're the consciousness, this formlessness that is allowing for both. On both sides, you are, and on both sides, you have this person sleeping and you have the person appearing in the dream, but both of these are objects appearing on presence, and the formless knower is just knowing this sense of existence and these a sense of existence, this presence, this spirit, just to suddenly, oh, I exist. As we spoke about, the space in this room, and this is a dead body. Nobody, I'm just like this, just a lump of flesh, and the space clicks. And suddenly there's an awareness of, whoa. But the space was always there, always alive, always intuitive. Now it's clicked with the body, it says I, and it looks around. So it's formlessness using form. But this world is not really here. It's projected once the form, the spirit clicks with the body and you say I. And then now you're in form and you see the world. When you leave this body, and it's dead lump of goo again, you are the space or this formlessness. And there's form, but there's no form now because there's nothing to know. The knower has nothing to know. So you go into, you don't change. You don't know or you don't not know. It's knowing and unknowing, or knowing and ignorance. I really hate that word, but they say knowing and ignorance appears to this knower, to nothing.
I kind of wonder why, when my awareness sort of shifts or whatever, why wonder why it starts feeling like bliss. Any particular reason?
Well, that they call the Satchidananda. But again, remember, you're experiencing this Satchidananda. And as an object, you're experiencing Satchidananda as the sense of bliss. That nectar of immortality, that you're using this body as a cup to dip into it, and you're sensing and feeling this sense of presence. You're out of it. You're totally out of all of this. It's basically everything that God perceives is illusion because there's nothing other than that. So all of this is just an appearance, but it's not, and you are not. And even your ideas and concepts that you're creating while you're believing that you're something is not. Ultimate truth that you are the knower of that. You are that knows you are.
So it's like, it must be like super subtle then, in a sense.
Well, it's from the place where everything is appearing, and nothing can be in back of it. That's why Maharaj says, last terminal, ultimate truth. There's nothing in back. Whereas presence, you can say, ooh, I can sense this subtle presence. And all of this world is appearing in this formless presence. But now, who is sensing this sense of presence? Well, that would be you, and that you are. But you can't say what that is because you're sensing the sense of presence, but you can't sense that. There's nothing more because you are that. Does that make sense to you?
It sort of does. I don't fully, it doesn't like immediately put me in that state, but I get you. Just it's just like when I'm in my normal state of mind, I kind of tend to think that the sense of reality gets projected onto thoughts and objects, and then when there's what I call a shift, and then I'm in a state of sort of like blissful peace or whatever, and then I start in a subtle, I don't know, not even a subtle way. I start thinking, well, that's real. The bliss is real, but
With the bliss, you're still perceiving.
yeah,
The Satchidananda, there's still a perceiver of Satchidananda. So you're still kind of individualized as, oh, this is my Satchidananda, or oh, this is my presence.
right.
But presence is presence. There is no my. And that's why also it's the thoughtless state, because you'll have nothing to think about. You can't think about yourself when you're nothing.
Yeah, because when I'm in that blissful state, though, that what you just described is going on. It's like I can't describe. There's also something going on that I can't describe.
And that knower just has to be erased, because this just I is nothing. You again, you can't think about yourself. You can only think about things other than yourself, and everything that you can think about is using the mind, ego, intellect, which came along with presence. But you're prior to beingness. So every time Keith has a thought about, ooh, I'm really having a good samadhi or a good experience with Satchidananda, but well, there's a Keith that's having this experience. And the truth is that you, the selfless self, this experience is appearing on your spontaneous presence, but you are invisible, anonymous, unidentified identity. Nothing, 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 nothing. And that's why Maharaj talks about, too, samadhi. You could say, oh, I had a very nice samadhi. Samadhi is basically when you're so immersed in presence, and you were talking about this last week, that you're so immersed in presence that there's nothing else seen. There's no objectification of you or other or anything. There is just this beautiful samadhi. And yet, there's still, you are feeling the samadhi. There is someone there having a good samadhi, because you sit there and you say, oh, I had a good samadhi. But you are invisible, anonymous, unidentified identity. You are the knower of the sense of presence. Presence is formless and subtle, and you are the knower of that. As a matter of fact, you, as the selfless self, outside of illusory wonderings and conceptualizations, it's absolute stillness. There's nothing. Your illusory identity is having experiences, and then after a while wants to have those experiences as a no identity, but is still using the illusory identity to have an experience.
So the only thing that's known is the knowledge that I am.
That's the last thing, because you are beyond that. Prior to being this, you are, but you don't know you are. That's why Nisargadatta Maharaj talks about 100 years ago, how were you?
Yeah.
And that's prior to beingness. Prior to this beingness, the sense of existence, you did not know yourself, nor was there anything to know. And yet, you know you are. When you're in this body form, it's kind of the example of, I know I will exist after this body falls, because this sense of existence appeared to myself. This sense of presence, this I am, this existence, this spirit has appeared to the nothing that you are. And now you're using body form and moving about in this little illusory thing, the same as like in a dream. But once this body falls, then there's nothing, and you are, because you know it's, again, the flower. I know there's a flower there because I'm smelling it, so I can smell the fragrance. I know there's a flower. I don't have to be told there's a flower because there's a fragrance of the flower. The fragrance is the sense of presence that I am the knower of. You are not body, you were not body, you're not going to remain the body. Body's not your identity. Ooh.
What is that noise? You know,
everybody
who has headphones should have them on. Because otherwise there's background noise.
I don't know. Is this Elizabeth that's coming in? Elizabeth, are you there? No. Okay.
Well, she has her microphone on.
Oh, okay. I can't see. I just see Elizabeth's iPad, but I don't see any of her little, stats.
As the host, I can pull up all the participants.
Oh, okay.
And I see that she has muted out her camera, but the microphone is on.
Okay.
She could talk if she wanted to.
Okay.
I think it's a friend of ours, Beth.
Yeah, it just says Elizabeth's iPad. I assume it probably is, but I've never seen that.
But I know she has an iPad.
Okay. Well, people participate in different forms.
Well, she also called me today, so.
Okay.
I could sort of notice if I just look around me and see like some of the sort of beautiful things around me, like say I was watching sparrows take a dirt bath today. And it was very, it was just so uplifting automatically. It's like, but and then I can just transfer that feeling to anything. It's just a miracle that there seems so miraculously amazing, absolutely amazing that there's anything at all, and that there's all this stuff, and I'm not really feeling any pain right now, so it's all kind of beautiful. But I can sort of almost pump myself into almost a state of samadhi doing that, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and it talks about as you get closer and closer to yourself, the self, samadhi is like an automatic thing. Basically, anything can happen and cause samadhi. You can walk outside and see the sky and the trees and everything's almost like it's in HD. It's very vibrant, very alive, and that'll put you in samadhi very quickly. Just not concentrating and not thinking about yourself. And even if you go outside and you start to have a thought, then you know mantra, remain with your selfless self. Because viewing the birds taking a bath through the lens of presence, of course that's going to be a beautiful experience. But if you're seeing, like, you're seeing formlessly, you're not thinking about anything, there's nothing here, and here's these birds and they're doing their bath, and you know that this whole sense of all of this presence, and the presence is moving the birds, and everything is just oneness appearing in the spontaneous presence. And this is a state of samadhi. And then they talk about the different various states of samadhi. I think sahaja samadhi is just the natural samadhi all the time, which is basically the highest level of you just observing presence, and everything is just presence, moving about in presence without any thoughts about anything. And yet still, Maharaj will say, well, there's still someone experiencing this. Ultimate stage, the ultimate truth is no experience, no experiencer. No footprints in memory, no thoughts, no, almost like your space moving about in space. And that there's nothing's impressed. You don't take anything heavy. There's no touch of the world. You do your job, you do your duties, but it's very light. There's no impression that, oh, I need to do a good job or this or that. No, I just need to do what I'm doing in the moment. And there's no thought of how this is going to happen or what expectations are coming. I am using this body form. As long as I am using a body form, and as long as this body form is available, I can never be in the complete nothing. I can only know, okay, the formless knower in which presence has appeared. And presence is moving all of this around, including this formlessness that's in this body. I'm the holder of the body. Holder of the body means holding for a time and then not holding anymore. It's not, this is me. And what happens when this body falls? Oh, what about death and all this kind of stuff? If you're formless presence, there's no birth, no death. You're holding the body, you're not holding the body. You're holding the body, you're not holding the body. But you are. Presence always is. Everything is appearing on spontaneous presence. The bubble of illusion in which, since you have an instrument to view this bubble, like a little telescope peeking inside, it's here. But that's how you know yourself, the sense of presence. This is the first thing. I exist. I am spirit. You know this. You're even more subtle than presence. And that's why Maharaj talks about, if you want to at all compare yourself to sky or space. Because you're even more subtle than sky or space because you can perceive those. So, you know presence, you're even more subtle than this very subtle just I, because you're knowing this. And that knowingness is the totality in which everything is actually occurring. There's no individuality whatsoever because it's a dream, basically. The same as when you're laying down at night. All the characters may view themselves as individuals, and you might say, this is not good for this one, or that's not good for this one, but they're all yourself. And it's the same here. This entire world is projected on your spontaneous presence. Remain with the projector. That's how you do the discrimination very quickly. And you can remain with the sense of presence, and when something's appearing in your so-called life, you can just be with your selfless self and not give yourself away.
Then it's almost like, you almost like become like a detached consciousness in a sense, and you just see all this stuff passing.
You won't even know that you exist. It'll be scenes. When you are living from your reality completely, it is just scenes in front of you. There's no you in the scene. And there's no other because there's no you. Because in order for there to be other, there has to be you, me, and you. But when there's just presence, using a body to speak without thinking about using a body to speak. It's just seen. There's nothing impressing that I'm in a body or that I have a body or that I need to do these things or whatever. It's spontaneous actions and scenes that are passing. You don't even know you exist. Like there's no, I guess you know you exist because you're there, but it's not a, there's nothing impressed as like pressing, nothing. Because that's what thoughts and mind does. The thoughts come through, you identify with the thoughts, and they impress and impress and impress and impress, and they kind of limit you into this body form. But without thought, then you don't have any limitations on yourself at all.
It's sort of what I'm feeling right now is like you're saying these words in sort of rapid fire, and they do make sense according to words, but I also have a sense that it's almost like I'm disconnected from the meaning of the words or something. It's just all passing through, even though it means something as far as words go. It's just like passing through.
Yeah, that's why, because that's what we talk about, the impression of reality. You know, this reality is being impressed. It's not so much the words as it is you're remaining with your selfless self, and selfless self is speaking to itself using different forms, and there's recognition in the projection, and there is a sense of presence that develops very, very strongly as yourself, that's then felt through the various body forms that you are holding.
Is there like a natural discernment of what those bodies like are?
What those bodies are as far as what?
As far as just recognizing them, like a natural discernment comes about?
Well, discernment, I mean, at least as I understand it, is I am not this thing, or that, you know, some emotion starts to come in the body, and I absolutely know that that's happening to the body, but not to myself. I'm formless,
Okay.
and it's just
Yeah.
a disturbance. So
Yeah.
I
was starting to turn. Sorry, every time I was starting to turn. Discernment, I think, was turning into recognizing what something besides myself is, and I was turning. I could feel the discernment has a tendency to think it's discerning what something is rather than discerning what it isn't. Or
yeah, you just know it's not yourself. Everything is appearing. Again, you start to feel sadness. And like Maharaj says, okay, this is a 5 elemental body. It may feel a little bit depression, a little bit sadness, a little bit anger, I don't know, some kind of bodily thing, or not feeling good, feeling sick, stuffy nose, not feeling well. But you automatically know, oh, there's a 5 elemental body and there's a disturbance in the 5 elements. It has nothing to do with myself. So I don't have to like have this mentation develop about how this body is feeling. I don't need to do that. If I need to go to the doctor, I go to the doctor. He prescribes some medicine, I take medicine. If I need to take a Tylenol, I take a Tylenol. And I don't have to think about it. I know it's a disturbance in the 5 elements. That's all. Just like we're having right now, a little storm. Behind that storm is the sun and a bright blue sky. The storm has appeared on the bright blue sky. You know this because when the storm passes, sky will be there. So all of this is just coming and going, and yet you remain the background of every experience that you are.
It sounds like somebody's clattering stuff around in the kitchen or something.
Sounds like a custodian around here somewhere.
Poltergeist.
Is someone attacking Trish? Oh, you put it on mute? Oh, okay. It sounded like someone was attacking you. I was like,
Maybe she's got an animal in there.
I don't know. It's just strange. It sounds like somebody's in the kitchen clattering around with pots and pans. Maybe that's the internet. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Internet is fixing dinner.
It's funny because I don't hear it.
Oh, really?
no, I did. It was like clashing.
Huh.
Yeah, like metal, clashing, like somebody just dropping a bunch of pots and pans.
I still feel like I'm a person.
What gives you the impression you're a person?
I don't know. I just feel like I am. I look like one. I have a body.
But through mantra, you've been able to see yourself, correct?
Yeah, but still, the identification as a person is still there. I mean, I know, on one level, I know I'm not, a person, but there's a sensation of being a person.
Are you doing mantra? Are you like sitting and practicing, or as
I'm
throughout
doing mantra, but I'm not doing it probably as much as I should be. I'm not doing it, nonstop kind of.
Yeah, because it's definitely it's like a part-time thing is not gonna. Also, devotion. Don't allow the mind to take the touch of the knowledge that you believe you're taking. Instead, give it all back to master. Oh, master, thank you, or something like this, or try to involve, I guess, because it should be incessant, like continuously, never stopped, because yes, I have to know this reality. If I'm believing myself to be a person right now, well, who's the believer of myself being a person? And how am I believing this? Am I believing my thoughts? Am I believing I'm the body? If I believe I'm the body, then I can say, okay, well, this is changing all the time, because the one that saw you as a little girl as Trish and the one that sees you as a woman as Trish, that one didn't change and yet noticed all the changes in the body. The thoughts about Trish, you see, there must be sometimes where you have no thoughts about Trish at all, and yet Trish is. She's still there. When you wake up in the morning, you have that kind of fuzzy feeling, the just I, and then you can sort of watch as everything occurs. If you're practicing meditation of any kind, when thoughts start to arise about a situation, you can observe the thoughts, even if you're participating in the thoughts in the moment, you can observe them and then start to see the difference of what the thoughts are and what the reality is before you. when you start to get all churned up about any kind of anything, you know, oh, wait a minute, I am not body, I was not body, I'm not going to remain the body. Body's not my identity. Without a body, how can I have a personality? Without a body, how can I have any problems? So I have to know myself in a real sense. I know myself in a real sense as the sense of presence. I start to feel the sense of presence when I remain with my selfless self. And all the thoughts and everything then are appearing on selfless self, but I remain as selfless self. Things can come and go. Selfless self does not come and go. I can sit with mantra and just really invite the attention of the invisible listener. I've heard that this is the reality. I believe this is the reality. Now I want to show myself. I want to prove to myself this is the reality. I want to follow Master's instructions. Master says, I am not body, I was not body, I'm not going to remain the body. Master says, remain with the mantra. And don't even just spend 2 hours every day. Just continue with the mantra constantly. When you're doing something and just mantra, and you will begin to see that your body is moving around, things are moving around. There's no mind commenting on anything. You're not having any experiences. And this pressure of being Trish, the person, will slowly, silently, and permanently dissolve.
That's kind of where entertainment comes in and distracts from doing the mantra. Though it's like can't do. It's hard to be entertained and still be doing the mantra. It can just you can do it. You can do mantra watching a movie, but it's kind of hard to maintain.
Well, the mantra naturally is running throughout the body, breathing in and breathing out. This is the sound that is natural. And you're just reminding yourself, I am that, so that I am that, so that I am Brahman, Brahman I am. And that's, it's just continuous.
So the Brahman is actually reminding itself all the time?
We're inviting the attention of the invisible listener, the knower of the sense of presence, and you're discarding all the illusory layers that are covering presence, so presence can be felt and known by you, the formless knower. And then you want yourself more than you want anything else. There's nothing that appears on your spontaneous presence that you used to call world that you could possibly want. There's just
I got a little bit of that feeling, but then it goes away. Last week I had that feeling.
Well, it didn't go away. Your attention just went to something else. So when you see your attention goes to something else, just bring it back. You know, I read the book that you were talking about, Andrew, The Practice of the Presence of God, Brother Lawrence.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's a very nice book, and it's saying the same thing. When his attention went out to other things, he brought it back and just kept it on God. And when this happened over here, he just brought it back and just kept it on the presence of God. It was labeled as something different, but it was exactly the same. Bringing back to the sense of presence. And all of his letters and everything. And then I also bought the book Abandonment, which I'm liking also very much. This is very nice. You know, it's not just the Inchigiri Navnath Sampradaya or Advaita Vedanta. This knowledge is everywhere. And it all says the same thing. When these things appear on your illusory presence, you discard them and remain with the sense of presence. Remain with the bliss of the selfless self. Keep dipping your cup of body into the nectar of immortality and continue to sip on it. You are going to want this more than any passing thing. Brother Lawrence doesn't say it the same way, but he says the same thing. When he's working, he keeps his attention on the presence of God and happily works. And as soon as he notices his mind is going someplace and not on the presence of God, He simply asks for forgiveness in that way. Now, of course, this is a little bit different. Not need to ask for forgiveness. Just return your attention naturally back to your selfless self. Or even you can say, if you need to have this kind of mentation type thing, Master, I got caught up in illusion. I fell back into the illusory ditch. As you said, I might, if I don't remain with my selfless self, my sense of presence. I started to believe the illusion. I took the touch. And Master, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, didn't Ramakant Maharaj say that as he got closer, or there was a point in his life when he had really challenging dreams? I remember that reading that somewhere, or maybe hearing it, I'm not sure.
Yes, a lot of dreams of death and a lot of not good things. And he went to Nisargadatta Maharaj and talked to him about that.
Yeah, because I've been having that type of, well, I don't know if it's the same type of dreams, but very challenging dreams. So, you know, like what I do is I get up and I just, I listen to their Kakarati sometimes at 3 in the morning. And I don't sit up, I just lay in the bed and listen to it.
Good.
And I did the mantra and so forth. But it's, you know, it can be, the clouds can be very heavy at times. And, you know, it's just, it takes a lot of persistence. You know, it can take a long time to actually kind of like get beyond it or break through. It can be like, you can feel like a ton of SHIT is just pressing you down, you know, your whole history of whatever, you know, and, you know, but then when you read what the masters say, you know, it's one or the other. It's either complete non-involvement or complete, one is totally beyond all of this, and the other one is to be involved in it. And when there's involvement, the energy gets siphoned off in all different kinds of directions. You know, the power is lost. You know, basically, I've been noticing that because, you know, like being here in New Orleans and so forth, I notice that oftentimes my power is kind of like caught up in different directions. You know, it's not completely, you know, it's not getting, the only way to have that power is you got to be completely beyond all of it. That's where the power is. And, you know, as Ramakant says, you know, there's a lot of ash there.
Yes.
You know, there's a flame down there, and you get glimpses of it sometimes, but you got to keep working at it because, man, it can be, you know, it can be a challenge.
And remember too, he talked about the tenants not wanting to leave the building and abusing you.
Yeah.
And, you know, this experience comes, but it's just an experience. You know, okay, this experience has appeared on my spontaneous presence. Master said I'd have this.
Right.
There's nothing to worry about, nothing to think about, or, oh, I'm not doing mantra enough, or, oh, I shouldn't have these dreams or anything. No, it's simply, that is exactly what Maharaj has said. That while I'm doing the mantra, while I'm remaining with my selfless self, these tenants do not want to leave the building. They've been rooted in me for a long, long time. These different things that I think about, these different ways of conditioning that I believe that I've been conditioned in while I'm believing myself to be Andrew, all of these things are going to fight, so to speak, but you just allow. They're gone, they're going, they're going. A wasp nest, if you go and try to get rid of a wasp nest, like in the ones that sit in the roof and they leak down and all that, if you just spray and then, okay, it'll start to, and as you're getting the wasp nest out, the wasps are buzzing, 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 buzzing. You keep putting the dust or whatever kind of insecticide, all that buzzing settles down and it's all dead. And it's the same kind of thing. This mind, this buzzing that's continuously going on and trying to create like distractions, but you know, oh, no. You see, my master, he told me that this could happen and that I'm to remain with my selfless self. And all of this is appearing on spontaneous presence. I just move through it because it's illusion. I may believe, even in the moment, I believe it's true. but in the deepest sense, I know it's illusion. So I just go through it. And going through it with mantra is really helpful. You know, the food poisoning in India, and I look back on that and think, had I been thinking and really not paying attention to Master, what a disaster that could have been. How fear could have come, and going to the hospital and being, you know, all the people saying, oh my God, it's a foreign hospital and this and that. And then Maharaj left and I was by myself and all these things. Looking back on it in retrospect, it could have been like a really terrifying experience. But I remained with mantra, and there was no experience, no experiencer. It was just scenes passing, and it was through. So take the touch or not take the touch, as you were saying. Absolutely nothing is needed to take the touch of, and anything that is, quote, needed is a spontaneous action in the moment and isn't really needed, because it's like Nisargadatta talks about in the womb, you know, no one's building you. You're not being built. You know, it's spontaneous occurrences of this 5 elemental lump of goo that's being created spontaneously. No one's saying, oh, we need an arm here or a head or something. No, it's not like that. And that's the reality. The reality is there's no builder. It's just, okay, I'm going through this experience right now.
Yeah, and you know, like going through it is again, you know, like when I stick with, you know, like I'll do maybe the bhajans early in the morning, get up, and then I'll meditate and so forth. There's a lot of clarity that comes to it, and you get that kind of like that opening vision, you know, sort of reality opens up.
Yes.
Later in the day, it can kind of like close in again, so it's just kind of like that, kind of like it's like an accordion, it's kind of opening and closing, you know. So. But yeah, it's just, you know, the layers, basically, it's just, there's a lot of ash there, you know, and I think the deeper you go, the more challenging some of that old, you know, those foundational ashes can be, you know, breaking, you know, getting rid of that, basically. At least that's my experience, you know.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
And as you're discarding, even though all the layers on your spontaneous presence are absolutely illusion, there's conditioning to believe they're not. And at different various things, it's like, okay, this I let go, this I let go, this I'm not going to let go. Or this is, you know, I really have to pay attention. Mm-hmm. Especially, you could say, and for my own self, okay, I'm getting older. I need to worry about like retirement. I need to worry about these things. And how am I doing with this? And I need to maybe, you know, and all that kind of mentation, but you just remember, I am not body, I was not body, I'm not going to remain body. Everything is appearing on spontaneous presence. I remain with my selfless self, and the world disappears. Because the world is projected through mind and identification as this is me, and this is you, and these are all these things. That's not true. And as you take one step forward and then the master takes the next step, you start to walk through all these things that used to be experiences, and you see them now as just scenes passing before you. That somehow you're doing what needs to be done in the moment, and just like the water, picking it up, drinking it, putting it down. Thirst is quenched. No need to think about water for this moment. Or the action of water.
Well, it's 8:15.
Okay, good.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Very great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Blessings.